Hello there, this is Brad Swift with Right on Purpose Coaching. Today I'm going to do another episode about Lite, the email program that I use and recommend to my clients. And this comes from a question from another fellow indie author who says that she's really confused about new subscriber welcome emails and her monthly campaigns. And how can those new subscribers receive a welcome sequence of emails? I think she uses about 7 of them, spread out over time, and then how to use that around her monthly newsletters. And maybe you don't want them to get both of them at the same time. So let's take a look at how I handled this after quite a bit of frustration myself. See if we can't answer this question for you as well. All right, first we're going to start by looking at kind of the overall big picture of what we want to create. And this is on funalytics, something that Nick Stevenson, one of my mentors, has turned me on to. You can get kind of an overview of what you want to create in this whole sequence. So you want to have an opt-in where no matter where they come from, they're going to one opt-in area itself. And we'll map this on to what it looks like in Lite here in just a minute. So whether they're coming from a book funnel promo, from your reader magnet, maybe from Facebook or some type of search, they're all going to end up coming into the same area. And I'm going to call that a group. And we'll talk more about groups here in just a second. And then as they come in, they'll go through a series of welcome emails. I think I use 3, I believe, and then welcome emails that kind of go into a pre-launch if you want them to go into a launch, which is what I wanted to do. You might include something around if they're not engaging, if they're not clicking on the openings and all that. You may want to have them send them a re-engagement email. Don't worry too much about this. I actually ended up not using that until the very end. And then you go into a series of emails about the particular product or book that you would like them to consider buying. And then you go into that area, and at some point they'll be done with that, and you want to then send them into the newsletter. Now the question is, how do you not have them go into the newsletter and be getting double dipping from you? In other words, going through this whole sequence, maybe an email every 2 or 3 days, and then also they're getting the newsletter on top of that. So that's one of the things we want to look at, how to avoid that. Okay, now we're going to go over to the Lite area. Again, remember the dashboard and all that we looked at in one previous YouTube video. So now we're going to look at how does this transcribe over here with Lite. Over here in Lite. So here we've got, again, we're over here in automation. Those are the sequence emails that you'll be sending out once somebody opts into your through your reader magnet or from your website or whatever. We're going to look at one particular one here. This is one that I set up here just recently, where people who have downloaded one of the books, one of my perma-free books or something like that from my W. Bradford Swift readers. So I write under 2 pen names, so we're going to focus on the W. Bradford Swift ones. They will automatically come into this automation itself, okay? So we're going to take a look at that in just a second. In order to get a real good look at this, we need to temporarily deactivate it. So now we're going to go in and pretend that we're going to edit it. Okay, so it starts off, every automation is going to start off with a trigger. So this trigger is when subscriber joins a group, new W. Bradford Swift readers. And we'll take a look at what that group is here in just a second. In fact, why don't we go ahead and do that? We're going to back out of this. So this is where the group part comes in. So again, over here with subscribers, you have groups. And you can create a group very simply with that orange button there. You create a group. And what I did is I created a group just very recently. That's why there's not many people in there yet. I created a group called New W. Bradford Swift Readers. So no matter where they come from, I have it set up that they will go into this group initially. So if they go to my website and opt in to get the copy of Ray Kit's Initiation, for example, or they do the same thing through BookFunnel, Promo, or wherever, they're going to end up into this group. So that's one of the first things you want to do is you want to create an initial group that everybody will be going into that particular group. Okay, so now having done that, go back to the automation. Scroll down here and find the one that we want. Okay, so it's the one here that we've paused. So now we're going to go in again. So everybody's coming in through the new W. Bradford Swift Readers, and then they start to get a sequence of emails. So this is where your welcome emails come in. So my first one is welcome, and then I give them links to where they can download the book in case they haven't done so yet, or if they download it and they don't remember it. I like to kind of make sure they get that first book itself. And then I wait a couple of days, and then I start to really engage with them about who I am and why I write fiction for kids. Wait a few more days, and then I share about how my actually purchasing a Macintosh computer back in 1984, I think it was, led me to starting my writing career, even back in the days when I was a veterinarian. Wait a few more days, and then I start to go into how the Zach Bates Eco-Adventure team was born, the birth of that, and then that starts to lead into what I want them to consider purchasing. I start to share about what our kids, and I'm showing a picture of my daughter and my new grandson, what they have in common with the people who help inspire me to write the first book, Dominion of All. So all of this is leading them down the path to an offer I hope they will accept, which is to purchase the Zach Bates Eco-Adventure box set, which has all 4 of the books that are currently published in that set. Okay, at that point, then I start to move down to the actual offers themselves. So I do 2 offers. So after the sharing with them what our kids have in common with the people who inspired me to write the Zach Bates series, I move down about 3 days later, and I have an offer that I hope they will accept. And the offer is to purchase at a special discounted rate the Zach Bates Eco-Adventure box set, which has all 4 books in it. Then I wait 5 days, and I send out another offer, a kind of a last time offer for the same box set itself, and I give them a bit more background around the stories that led me to write the 4 books themselves. Then I wait 3 days, and now they go one of 2 directions. If they have clicked on the links, so let's look at this. This is a condition option where they have to go one direction or other, so certain rules. So I set up the rules so that if they clicked on any of the links in either offer email number 6, the first offer, or the second offer, then to me they're engaged. They may or may not have purchased it. They have not figured out a way to know and determine who has and hasn't purchased it in here. However, if they've clicked it, to me they're still engaged, and that's when I invite them through this 8th one into the lunch team itself. However, the other down thumb, so to speak, is if they haven't clicked on any of the links in either of those emails, I mark them as unsubscribed. In other words, it doesn't appear that they really have engaged in the process, so I unsubscribe them. Now you can vary this itself. You could put this that you still want to put them into another group. But let's look at this a little bit further here. So they've been invited to the launch team, and whether they have take that invitation or not, because they have been engaged, I then move them to a different group, to the W. Bradford Swift News group. That's the newsletter group itself. Okay, now let's take a look how that gets set up. Now this is where the groups, or tags as they're sometimes called, become important. So again, we're back to the subscriber area now on the top header itself, and we want to go to groups. Okay, now we have a number of groups here. What we really want to look at first, we've got the new groups, the one that I just set up that have so far 11 subscribers that have somehow found their way in there. However, there's a second group that we've also established, which is W. Bradford Swift News. So once they've gone through the sequence that I just showed you for the new readers, they will, if they clicked a few of the links, they will go into the news section itself. So that's how to keep them in the loop, where once they've gone through that automation, which takes a couple, I think it was about 3 weeks to go through it completely, then at that point they will be automatically added to start to receive the newsletter. Okay, now why is this important? Okay, so now we're going to look at what happens to make sure that they don't get the extra newsletter while they're receiving those automations. So here we've got, again, we're in the campaign area now, the draft area. So I've got one here that's getting ready to go out, and we've already created the content and all that. So we now want to look at getting ready to send it out. But do we want to send it out to everybody? No. We could send it, we can click this, all active subscribers. Okay, and then you go down here to the group, and it's very simple to find the group here. New W. Bradford Swift readers, we don't want them to receive it. So you can just find that group and exclude the group, so they won't receive the newsletters until they join W. Bradford Swift News itself. Once they've gone through that sequence, if they've clicked the thing, they're still indicating they're engaged readers, they'll automatically go into this group and start to receive the newsletters as well. Okay, hope that makes sense. If you have any questions having seen this, put the comments below and I'll try to answer them. Take care.